This video presentation demonstrates the proposed place text service to illustrate the goals of Project Bamboo. We'll look at how shared information services can help researchers explore how geographic places are represented in texts. Place is a key concept in historical studies. A service that can automatically identify places in texts can be a useful analytic tool. Such a service can help to geographically characterize a book, a historical document, a journal article, or even a web page. The identification of places in texts will not only help understand historical literature, but also material culture. For example, here's a website with archaeological data describing a coin documented in excavation. Mint marks are often identified on coins, and these mint marks can be related to specific geographic places, as seen here. Identifying places in text needs cutting-edge technology. Bamboo will help make such technologies more widely accessible to researchers and students. Methods to automatically identify place entities in texts are an active area of research. Results of place identification can therefore have errors. To be useful for scholarship, both data sources and analytic methods should be transparent to researchers. Let's look at this issue in more detail. A researcher wanting to understand what places are represented in a text will need to do the following. First, they need to identify and retrieve the text of interest, and this could be a single document or portions of a larger corpus of documents. Then, they need to determine the kinds of places that they're looking for. Are these ancient places, modern places, or even fictional places? Next, appropriate analytic techniques need to be used. What kind of algorithms and what entity identification software is going to be used on this problem? Once the texts are analyzed, the results need to be stored, made available to colleagues, and made available for future analysis. Finally, the results need to be understood through visualizations and through comparisons with other kinds of analyses. Bamboo needs to develop services for each stage of this process. Integrating several different services into a common infrastructure will make it easier for researchers to use their critical judgment. Why? Because researchers will more easily use a variety of collections and run analyses against multiple algorithms, and then compare and evaluate results. Starting at the first step in this workflow, let's choose a key historical text, the Histories by Herodotus. This example is based on work by Elton Barker, Leif Isaacson, Eric Kanza, and Kate Byrne, and the project's homepage can be found at googleancientplaces.wordpress.com. The Histories by Herodotus is a well-known ancient Greek text. In our example, we'll use an English translation. Our goal is to see a map of places discussed in this text. We'll use the proposed Bamboo geoparsing service to extract place entities from the histories. In our example, we'll first get the text from the Perseus project at Tufts University. We will then use a specialized gazetteer of the ancient Mediterranean world developed by the Pleiades project. And then we'll run a special geoparsing application to algorithmically identify those places. Let's see how these steps would work in Bamboo. We'll start with the client, or the user interface. Through the client, the user selects a copy of the histories from a collection. Here's a mock-up of the proposed user interface, and in this example, we've just entered the location for the histories in the Perseus repository. Next, the user selects a geoparsing service that uses a relevant gazetteer for this text. We've got two choices, a geoparser loaded with modern places from geonames.org, and a geoparser loaded with place names from the ancient Mediterranean world from the Pleiades project. In this case, we'll need a gazetteer of the ancient Mediterranean because we're looking at an ancient Greek text. And here's what that selection would look like in the mock-up. So at this point in the workflow, we've selected our text and we've selected a geoparser ready with the correct gazetteer. In this case, that correct gazetteer is Pleiades. With everything set up, we're ready to perform the analysis. Through the user interface, a message is sent to the shared services telling it to request the histories from the digital repository at Perseus. And then the histories is sent on to the geoparser for analysis. The geoparser may require a lot of processing time, especially for large texts. Now we come to the results storage part of our workflow. Here we see results cached after sometimes lengthy runs of the geoparser. The researcher now learns that results are ready to review or share with colleagues. And here is that notification. Finally, we come to the last stage of our workflow, visualization and interpretation. We see a variety of output formats. These will be useful for different kinds of visualization and follow-up analysis. Here we see a map of some of the places discussed in the histories. Let's take another look at these interactions. The client sends a message to the Places text service asking to geoparse a text identified by a URI. Because the geoparser can take some time, the Places text service sets up a place to store the results. The user is notified where to find the results once they are ready. The Places text service then gets a document identified by a URI from a repository. This repository can be anywhere on the web. The service may draw upon a feed from a digital repository, enabling researchers to analyze large corpora. Permissions and authentications are checked if the repository is not open to the public. The Places text service then sends the document to a remote geoparsing service and receives the results. The Places text service then stores the output from the geoparser in the results cache. Finally, the user retrieves the geoparser results from the cache. The Bamboo Places text service could make this type of research easier. An individual would not have to configure and deploy a complex and specialized software tool like a geoparser, since that tool could be available via Bamboo's shared services. Bamboo can streamline interactions between many different collections and these kind of sophisticated analysis tools. Shared services make it easier to compare results from different analyses. KML or GeoRSS data from other collections and the open web can be drawn in for comparison. Let's compare results of this geoparsing analysis with other attempts at identifying places in this same text. Here we show human and machine identified places in the histories marked with different colors. And here's a map view of these data. On the top we show hand-coded identification of places in the histories, and on the bottom we show a map of machine identified places. Results look quite different. Researchers can then explore the differences, try to improve their methods, and make more nuanced interpretations. We just explored how the Bamboo Places text service could give researchers a new window on visualizing and analyzing texts from a variety of digital collections. The perspectives we showed emphasize the need to put researchers in the driver's seat in order to facilitate use of textual analysis software via services that can be shared from a variety of preferred user interfaces or clients, but also to permit researchers to understand and work to overcome the software's limitations. To sum up, Project Bamboo will make it easier for humanities researchers to use rapidly growing digital collections and cutting-edge algorithmic tools. The Places text service represents just one of the ways in which Bamboo will provide a more sustainable and accessible approach to opening new research and exploration opportunities. Thank you.